Ever sent a letter to a government office and just wondered what happens next? For a long, long time, it basically fell into this huge bureaucratic maze, right? A real labyrinth of paper and red tape. Well, today, we're going to follow that letter's journey. We'll see how it goes from a dusty paper stack to a super efficient digital track, all thanks to a system called eOffice. Let's dive in. I mean, it's a question that, for the longest time, had a pretty mysterious answer, didn't it? You'd send off some really important document, and it would just vanish, like into a black box. Poof. You'd have absolutely no idea where it was, who was looking at it, or even if you'd ever get a response. But thankfully, that whole story is starting to change. And this really shows you the before and after. On the left, that's the old paper way. We're talking weeks of waiting, the risk of your file just getting lost, a totally opaque process. But on the right, that's the eOffice way. We're talking faster turnaround, secure digital files, and a transparent workflow. It's night and day. So the big question is, how does the system actually pull this off? Let's follow the journey. All right, part one, from paper piles to pixels. Our story kicks off the second a physical document actually lands in the office. The very first job, getting it out of the paper world and into the digital one. So, everything starts with a single piece of mail. In the government system here in India, this incoming physical mail has a special name. It's called DAC. And for our story, this DAC is basically our hero. It shows up as a plain old piece of paper, but trust me, it's about to get a major digital upgrade. And here's how that digital life begins. The very first step is a process called digitalization. Now, it sounds a bit technical, but the idea is actually super simple. The physical document gets scanned, and boom, the system gives it a unique digital ID number. It's basically like giving it a digital birth certificate. Just like that, our piece of paper is officially born into the digital world. And just like that, our DAK isn't just a piece of paper anymore. It's now what the system calls a receipt. And its very first stop is right here, a user's digital inbox. Yeah, it looks a lot like your email inbox, right? So it's not sitting in a pile on someone's desk anymore. It's officially in the digital queue, ready for action. Okay. Part two, the document's digital journey. So our letter is officially in the system. But, just like in the physical world, you can't have important documents just floating around aimlessly. They need to be organized. So let's see how the system starts to build a proper case file around it. The next move is something we can all understand. It's basically a digital folder. That receipt we just made, it gets placed into a file. And you can think of this exactly like a physical manila folder. It's a way to make sure that every single related document, all the notes, everything about one specific topic, stays in one place. Super simple, but man, is it powerful for keeping things from getting chaotic. And here you can see that file creation process in action. It's literally just a few clicks. An official creates a new file, gives it a subject, a unique number, and that's it. What this means is that every single issue, right from the very start, gets its own neat, dedicated digital workspace. No more digging through a mountain of paper trying to find that one stray document. All right, part three, deliberation in the digital age. Okay, so our document is digitized and it's neatly filed away. Now we get to the really important part, the actual work. How do officials discuss, debate, and ultimately make decisions on this digital file? This is where the real action happens. And this is it. Welcome to the main event. This is the core workspace in eOffice. It's a pretty smart setup. On the right-hand side, you've got the actual document, our letter, which the system calls correspondence. And over on the left, you have what's called notings. You can think of this as the digital conversation, a running commentary about the document. The best part? Everyone sees the same thing, so you have all the context right there as you add your thoughts. Now, here's a really smart detail. Not all comments are created equal. You've got two kinds. On the left, green notes. These are the official record. Think of them as permanent, signed comments that really carry weight. But then you have yellow notes. These are basically digital sticky notes, perfect for a quick, informal question, like, hey, can you double-check this? They're temporary and don't become part of the permanent record. It's a great way to keep the formal decision-making separate from the casual teamwork. Okay, so after all the discussion, all the green and yellow notes, a decision has been made. So now what? Well, it's time to actually communicate that decision. And the next step is creating an official response, which in eOffice lingo is known as a draft. And creating that draft is a really straightforward four-step process. First, you just create a new draft. Simple enough. Second, you add the content, and you've got options here. You can write it from scratch, pull in a handy template, or even upload a document you've already prepared. Third, and this is key, you attach that draft to the main file. This keeps everything connected. And finally, you send it on its way for approval. And here's a look at the actual drafting screen. As you can see, it's got a text editor that looks pretty familiar, kind of like Word or Google Docs. You have your options to upload and fields to fill in all the essential details, like who it's going to and what the subject is. It's basically an all-in-one station for crafting that final, polished response. All right, part 4, the final digital stamp. The response is all written up, but hey, it's not official yet. We've reached the climax of our document's journey. It's time to get that final binding approval. This is the last hurdle. So that draft doesn't just sit in one place. It starts moving digitally up the ladder, from one officer to their superior and then to their superior and so on. At each step, that person can review the entire file, the original letter, all the notings, and the draft response before they give it their stamp of approval. It's a totally transparent chain of command. And this is the final decisive moment. Look at the bottom of the screen. You see those buttons? That's where the magic happens. Buttons like e-sign and send are the modern, secure equivalent of putting pen to paper. With just one single click, that document isn't just approved, it is legally and securely signed. So what exactly is this e-sign? Well, it's a really key part of the whole digital infrastructure. It's based on Aadhaar, India's national ID system, which is used to verify the official's identity. It works just like your online banking. They get a one-time password, an OTP, sent to their phone. They punch it in, and bam, their legal signature is applied to the document. It's super secure, legally valid, and incredibly efficient. And this right here shows you the real power of having a fully integrated system. The action on the left, clicking that e-sign and send button, immediately and automatically creates the result on the right, a perfectly formatted official dispatch letter ready to go. There's no delay, no waiting for someone in the mailroom. It's totally seamless. And with that single click, our letter's journey is complete. The response is sent out electronically. But maybe the most important part is that every single step we've talked about, from that initial scan all the way to the final signature, is logged forever. It creates this permanent, unbreakable, and totally transparent digital trail. So, what's the big deal? Why does all this really matter? Well, remember that black box we talked about at the beginning? This system completely shatters it. You get transparency because every single action is tracked. You get incredible speed. What used to take weeks might now take just hours. You get accountability with a crystal clear digital trail of who did what when. It helps the environment by cutting down on paper, and records are secure and easy to find. This isn't just a small change, it's a massive upgrade to the entire engine of government. Which brings us to one last big thought to leave you with. We've just seen how the behind the scenes, the back end of government is getting a huge digital makeover. So as all that internal paperwork gets smarter, faster, and more efficient, what could that mean for the future of the public services that you and I use every day? Now that is the next big question.